One.
Welcome everybody to episode 4 of the October Country Comics podcast.
Woo! We're here. We're ready.
So unfortunately tonight we are not going to have our normal regular third person. Steve was called away on urgent business.
Urgent secret agent business.
He actually is secret agent man.
You can't just give that away. That's confidential.
I didn't tell you what his code
trusted
name.
us with that
I didn't say what his
information.
code name was.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
It's not like I burned him out in the field.
Okay.
It's Steve.
Who knows? Is Steve really his real name? We haven't really given away anything, to be fair.
Joining us tonight is longtime customer and second time podcaster,
Yeah.
Kyle. Kyle, say hello.
Oh, yeah. Hi. I was waving the entire time for the record.
Ah.
This is going to be a riveting evening.
Oh, yeah.
Can already tell.
I'm ready.
Alrighty.
Let's get into it.
So, this feels like something's missing, though. We don't have our normal Steve banter going on. We're just kind of jumping right into
Do
this.
you want me to be Steve?
No.
I don't feel like it'll be the same. I don't think I can do him justice.
No. You could probably do him injustice.
Is that a segue to something? Do
No,
we have
no.
something injustice related? You got me all excited.
We do have something Justice League related. Does that count?
All right, I guess.
Okay, we're not segueing into Justice League though, because it's not technically Injustice, so the setup doesn't work.
You keep building me up, and I'm about to finish, and you're just like you're like metaphorically blue balling me.
I feel like you're really pushing the envelope of the things we're allowed to say on this podcast.
I am.
Right now.
I really am.
Don't worry, we'll fix it in post-production.
We'll fix it in post.
He'll just add worse things in post production.
Yeah, like Kyle's boop, like I did on the last one. That shows up like 5 times if you've listened to the last one.
Worked out fairly well.
Yeah.
All right. Now it feels like an October Country Comics podcast. We did some banter. It's going well.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into these new releases.
Let's go.
All right. So first big new release of the week. We have Action Comics 1001.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Brian Michael Bendis is doing it up with Superman and Action Comics now.
That's fun.
We had his first issue of Superman a couple weeks ago. Action Comics 1000 is this week. It's looks like it's going to be an interesting book. I don't.
I mean, following up the 6-issue mini, which wasn't like super exciting. I mean, I'm interested to see what's happening with what's coming after the effects of the 6-issue Man of Steel mini. I only read Action. I don't know if it's going to... Is it mainly affecting like one book over the other? Like Superman over Action or Action over Superman? Or is it affecting both equally? Do you know?
I think what's going on is that each book is going to focus on something different. Like the Superman title is going to focus mainly on him doing more super heroics and more like cosmic level Superman stuff, which is why, like, you know, in the first issue we're dealing with the Phantom Zone of Superman #1. Whereas Action Comics is going to focus mostly on him being a reporter and everything that's going on in the backdrop of Metropolis.
Okay.
There's been some rumors. I had not having read the new issue of Action Comics. There have been rumors that Bendis is going to be creating a almost a Court of Owls-esque type of group that's going to exist in Metropolis. So he's trying to make some parallels to what's going on with Batman, or what's been going on with Batman currently.
Can Bendis out Snyder?
Well, we already have the new mythos going on for how Krypton ended, right? So I mean,
Supposedly,
Isn't that like the 5th time it's been retconned?
I mean, the original thing was that the planet was just a dying planet, and they sent him
nice,
here.
simple.
Yeah,
you know?
well, it was a planet that was dying. Then it became that there was a natural, they kind of, the post-crisis, I believe, was that it was very similar. It was a dying planet, but they made it more of a conspiracy where The
There was something involving Brainiac, and then there was the Eradicator that was involved with it.
No, that was later.
Later,
but the post-crisis one was basically still the dying planet, but the Lords of Krypton, or the Krypton's government, was trying to hide it from the people, and they were like basically making like fake science reports,
Fake
and
news.
they wouldn't listen to Jor-El, so he sent his son away to.
Okay. Yeah.
It all boils down to Superman winds up on Earth.
Okay. Yeah.
Isn't there a show that's in direct conflict with this version of the writing?
Krypton?
Yeah, that'd be the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
might
yeah,
be.
but Krypton takes place before Jor-El.
Well, they all.
It's Jor-El's
It's Jor-El's
father?
dad, but as
Yeah,
a teenager.
Yes.
I got
Yes.
it. Jor-El's dad as a teenager, and the threat is Brainiac. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
why are
Injustice
we-
2 also goes
that's
off
the-
with the
See,
Brainiac
just-
continuity.
Well, that was what Jeff
Kinda
Johns
confusing.
after they did Infinite Crisis about 10 years ago now. Jeff Johns finally made the definitive origin story for Superman, which was
Until now.
the secret origin story was that Brainiac was the one who destroyed Krypton, because what happens is you know how Brainiac has all the shrunken cities.
Yeah, he stole
Kandor.
Kandor, yeah.
So what Brainiac does is, so he can be the only person with the knowledge. He takes the city to keep as a souvenir and to keep all the knowledge of the planet, and then he destroys the planet so no one else can ever find out.
I'm the biggest boy in the galaxy, everybody.
Yes,
And that's going to stay that way.
he's essentially. I mean, Brainiac really is like the one Star Trek villain from the original series, who was like trying to keep them as like toys. Remember, it was like
the one guy, the guy that turned out to be the kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they had to the parents showed up, right, and they had to whisk
they
him
whisked
off
him
the
away.
yeah.
But either way, I'm
So,
excited.
That's essentially
I'm
what
curious to see
I'm waiting for
what it is.
Brainiac's dad to show up and be like, "No, bad Brainiac."
You know, actually, now that you mentioned that original Star Trek thing, I believe that whole story eventually was retconned in one of the books to be that was a young Q, not
Oh,
a regular
okay,
Q
yeah.
from the next
I know
generation, but
that's-
another member of the continuum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know that's what his character was based on.
Right.
But I didn't know if that was, linked or not. But that's interesting. Either way.
So, all right. So Action Comics 1001 is out this week. If you're a big Metropolis fan and a big Clark being a reporter doing reporter things fan, this is the book for you.
Oh boy.
You know, it's street level stuff for Clark. So
Okay.
that's kind of cool.
That could be interesting.
The next big release this week is Infinity Wars Prime.
Here we go.
It's the prelude issue to the Infinity Wars event this year. We've had the Infinity Countdown, which has been setting up all the stuff, moving all the characters in place.
Getting everybody together.
Yes,
for the
figuring
big
out
showdown.
figuring out what all the Infinity Stones are doing, how they've been recreated, what their abilities are, all that
Thanos
kind
is coming. He's coming fast and he's coming hard, so get ready.
So, and so it's going to be an interesting book. It's drawn by Mike Diodato Jr., so the book is going to look amazing. It's written by Jerry Dugan, so the writing is on point. He's been the writer for Infinity Countdown and the writer for Guardians of the Galaxy for the last year and a half.
Well, at least they're keeping it constant,
Yeah. And this book, however, does have a really big Marvel Universe death.
Is it supposed to? Was that announced?
Yeah. That was one of the things it was teasing.
Do you know? Do you have a belief as to who it might be?
I make no speculations. It's Infinity, and
could be anybody.
Whoever dies in this book, given the fact that it's surrounded around the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stones, they're gonna come back. They'll be back by the end of the story, whoever it is. The right now the teasers are that it's a really big Marvel character, so that just means they'll be back by the end of the series.
Probably, or the end of a year from now.
Yeah, usually your usually tracks about right. Anywhere usually when characters get killed, it's usually between a year and 3 years when they come back.
Okay. Yeah. But
so-
I'm excited to see. I'm excited for the continuation. I hope Drax plays saxophone more often, and that's where I'm at. I'm excited for T. Hanos, what he's gonna do now that he's coming.
Really, we're is that his street name in the galaxy there?
T.
Hanos.
That's code. No one will get it. Just he gets stuff on the black market by going by the username T. Hanos. No one knows since there's a period.
Because no one notices the big giant hulking purple, Grimace went to the gym looking guy.
Nah, he wears sunglasses and a baseball hat.
Right.
He's fine.
I mean, plus his screen name is #1 Death Fan.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay.
At
Really,
double,
we're
doubledeath.mil.
We're going with the new
like
Marvel
that.
movie joke.
Oh, yeah.
Just because we're wearing sunglasses and baseball caps, it's not a disguise. It just means we're going to a ball game.
It took them 20 movies, but they finally got to it. They finally brought it up in a movie. I was so excited. Surprised where they
So
brought
with
it
the
up,
new
though.
stones, does the Stone fix your credit score, and like the Time Stone cures erectile dysfunction or something? I mean, what do they do?
That'd be interesting if their powers worked differently like that. I know there's like a chart in the beginning of every countdown issue that shows you what they do and how they affect each other, which was weird.
but it's weird. It's like this time around, the stones actually they're like tethered to certain characters now, which is weird. Like I think the Power Stone is like it's like it has to be used by Captain Marvel.
Does it have to? I didn't know it was tethered like that.
I don't know. It's the way they've been setting
I just know that these characters have stuck with these stones for the entirety of Countdown so far.
I mean, the only character so far who hasn't really stuck with the stone is Wolverine.
Oh yeah, because he just gave it to Natasha and was just like, here, and she was
but
come on, man,
yeah.
why? I hate you.
So yeah, I mean, he's the only person right now. I don't think he's the only character that isn't in possession of his own stone right now, right?
Yep. But she can use it fine. It hasn't affected her, and Wolverine and her have both been able to use it. So I don't know if it's tethered to anybody.
Well, I mean, what does Natasha need a stone for? What does she really need it for?
She doesn't really need it, but she's used it. She
What?
used it in her Countdown issue.
Is she going to use it to cure leather chafing? I mean, other than that, she really doesn't need anything
What?
else.
Now, do we
Well,
know?
she has the Space Stone.
Creating a little bit of space between her and the leather, so therefore no chafing. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
See, we tied this back.
Anybody watch that really awkward interview where the interviewer just keeps asking about her, how she wore the underwear in the Avengers movie, Scarlett Johansson?
No.
It's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable.
What?
I've seen it.
He's like, does underwear fit under the costume? And she's like, why does everyone ask me about that? And Jeremy Renner's just like, this is weird. But he starts getting into it, and it's like, oh, this is really awkward.
Well, there you go. Infinity Wars Prime this week. Prelude to the big event. Big, the big character I think is what's the character's name? Requiem. That's the new character. That's supposed to be the big.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not up to date on who the big character. But even if you're not like buying the tie-ins and stuff, this is necessary.
Yeah.
I'd say. So even if you haven't seen anything, let's just go to the next one.
Anyway, that was a sight to see.
You don't wanna
Thank
know
God
what
we weren't
happened.
live for that.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so the next big release is actually a Valiant release this week.
Oh.
And actually, Kyle, you might have some input on this one. It's the new Britannia book.
Oh yeah, I've actually enjoyed the heck out of that series so far.
Yeah, no, it's well, I know you haven't checked it out
I've
yet.
never
but,
even heard of it.
Britannia is it's about the world's first detective. It takes place in ancient Roman times. So
It's historicalized fiction.
yeah. So the main character, he's a soldier
He's
who
a former legionnaire who's been freed, and he now basically is serving as a detective. And because he was such a high-ranking individual, he can pretty much do what he wants to do.
Okay.
And the thing is that the last mission he went on for Rome, he basically he went nuts. because
Okay.
he saw some stuff.
He
And some
encountered something
things.
kind of supernatural-ish.
Is there like I was going to ask,
Yeah.
was there supernatural stuff involved?
But it really gets into some of the even like the modern day myths about Rome and about the history. What are the group of women, the ones who are they're pure? What was their something with a V?
Valkyries?
No, not Valkyries.
No, that's Norse.
Very much so.
Well, in any case, so he the main character is he's the world's first detective, and he's going and he basically he's learning the laws of deduction, and and no one takes him seriously because they'd never encountered something like this before. They're like, what's a detective? What's the there's no real police force yet. It's kind of like it's just soldiers. There's no police force.
What is detective?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the series is really well written. They do call on a lot of historical information that's very accurate, a lot of obscure information as well. And then one of the other nice things that they do is even after putting together a really nice story, at the end of the book, they also have a couple of pages that'll be in there citing various different things about the history of why this occurred. And it's really an interesting read overall. You're definitely not looking at the same type of thing as you are when you're looking at Infinity Gauntlet, for instance. But
Of course.
Yeah. But it's a fun book, and it actually does make you get you thinking. Is that because some of the things that he's encountering, are they supernatural? Are they not supernatural? Or is supernatural or the things they perceive as supernatural just because they're not willing to look at all the clues and see what's real and what's not.
What is love?
So, but of course, there's a lot of things. It doesn't hoodwink you like a Scooby-Doo cartoon where it was just a guy in a mask. There is stuff he
Of course.
there is stuff he runs into that is he's like, oh yeah, no, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is some bad mojo, and he has to go to some of the oracles of the time to have them help him with some of his cases. Another big factor is that it also takes place during Caligula's reign as emperor.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and if you know anything about Roman history, Caligula was not a good dude,
Okay.
and they play it up in the book. It's
Okay.
pretty up there.
That's
I got to tell you, though, you just got me thinking about the whole Scooby-Doo ending. At the end of it, you find out it's not Caligula who's doing all the bad stuff. It was actually Brutus in a mask or something.
Nice.
Hilarious. Make me laugh pretty good.
So yeah, this is the third in the trilogy of Britannia stories. So anyone who wants to come check it out, it's gonna be a really fun book.
come on down.
Yeah, and it's another one of those things from Valiant. Because of when I grew up and with comic books and everything, I want to be a big fan of the big two, and I have this knee-jerk reaction to want to not like the third-party books as I still view
The
them.
indies, yeah.
Yeah, the indies, the Valiants, the Dark Horse, even to a limited degree at this point in time, or Image even. Well, I hate Image comics.
Oh.
And that's a title of a book.
Ah.
I walked you into that. But anyway, the point being is, though, this is another one of those where I want to hate Valiant, but they keep putting out really good stuff. And it kind of annoys me because they keep putting out really good stuff. So I keep wind up having to read Valiant, and they do just keep putting out good stuff.
Well, I mean, the nice thing, it's something I've said, again, and take what I say with a grain of salt, because I really do love a lot of the stuff that Valiant's putting out. But it's books that they try to have it more set in a real world setting with characters that happen to have powers.
Yeah.
It's not set in the whole world itself isn't fantastical. It's really just supposed to be our world with the government conspiracies, and some people have abilities that are beyond explanation.
And occasionally you have brothers whose dads' minds are put into the body of female goats.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's
I
a
didn't
really
say it was
good-
perfect. I didn't say it was perfect. Quantum and Woody,
It's
They are the
amazing.
worst
Excited.
superhero team, but they are fantastic.
Their last issue was really good. And I'm
But the
excited for
goat
their
does
TV
reign
show.
supreme.
Yes,
Of
the
course.
goat
The
is
goat does
amazing.
reign
The goat.
supreme.
He is the
It
the goat is
The thing. Yeah, the goat. The creature.
it's the star of the book. It really is.
Of course.
in some ways, yes.
But yeah, so yeah, everyone, the new, like I said, the new Britannia book's out. It's written by Peter Milligan. A lot of everyone who knows comics, Peter Milligan has he's gotten a lot of star power from his runs on Hellblazer and a lot of other horror-esque comics.
Okay.
And also the artist is Juan Jose Rip and Raul Allen. They definitely have a unique style, but it definitely works for what they're trying to do.
It's pleasing. It is a pleasing style.
And they complement Milligan's writing style, which is always nice. So yeah, so if you're looking for just a good book and you're into historical fiction, come check it out.
Come on down.
Next big release for the week is Justice League Dark #1.
Oh boy. We're getting into the Justice League, the next team in a series of several teams that are formed to do something related to that amazing event, Metals or something.
Well, they're spinning out of
Maybe.
No Justice, wasn't it? The
Or
No,
No
Ju-
Justice.
it was the
Yeah,
No Justice
it's No
event.
Justice. Well, okay, so Metals is its thing, and then No Justice spins out of Metals, and then all these books are spinning out of No Justice.
Yes.
So,
Well,
yeah.
it's like it was weird. It was you had Metals, which was like the book that said, hey, there's something wrong with the dimensional fabric.
Yeah.
And then like No Justice was, hey, we have to go find out why Metals happened.
Well, yeah, Metals was the bottom line of Metals was the source wall's broken. No Justice was like, oh, the source wall's broken, and now we're at, oh, we should probably do something about the source wall being broken. We spent a whole event talking about it, and we were supposed to go save Brainiac's planet, but then we didn't, so the whole event was kind of pointless. You could have just completely skipped it. It was like nothing. It was 4 issues of just, what? That's it.
But for anyone who does want to check out the new Justice League stuff, we have all the issues of No Justice, and we
Yes.
have all the current issues of the current run of Justice League.
The current run of Justice
and
League is.
If you want to dive right in, if you're more of a Supernatural fan, Justice League Dark #1.
Yeah, do you know who's writing it?
James Tynion, the writer who has been writing Detective for the last couple of years.
Is this kind of like the Michael Bendis deal where Scott's picking out everybody who writes the subsidiary Justice League books, or is that not at his pay grade yet?
I'm not sure. I'm trying. Who's writing Odyssey? Isn't that's Williamson, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's or Rob Will. It's either Josh
Also known as the book with Cyborg with pants. In regards to Justice League, what is it, Dark?
Yeah, Justice League Dark.
It sounds interesting because Wonder Woman's leading the team, and she's definitely a supernatural-esque character.
Who are
so
the rest of
that'll
the members
definitely
right
be
now,
fun.
Will?
It's Wonder Woman leading the team, obviously. Swamp Thing is on it.
Okay.
Detective Chimp. It's a very weird roster.
Okay, I'm down with Detective Chimp. Okay.
Man-Bat's there, and
Man-Bat.
Zatanna. So
Zatanna.
we got a very small team, but it looks to be slightly effective.
You-
I'm curious about Man-Bat's admission into the
Yeah,
league.
that's kind of
little
a weird one.
He's a Batman villain, and
Right,
as far as I know,
right.
all of his origins are
Nothing
scientific.
mystical whatsoever.
So
yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
that's really weird.
I mean,
but I'm down with the rest of the
But I
team.
mean, you got Zatanna and freaking Swamp Thing. Those
Of
two
course.
by themselves are just powerhouse and
Well, yeah, they're like main magic characters, though. I believe at least Zatanna, I know, has been a Justice League Dark member. I think Swamp Thing too. He did appear in the movie. For a short time.
Swamp Thing was on.
Was he on the New 52 Dark team?
No, yes, he was early.
Okay.
Early on.
I know he's not usually like a main member because that
Yeah.
doesn't really fit his character.
Well, no, the problem was the reason why he's not ever a main member, at least in the current.
He's tied to the green. He can't do a lot of things.
Yeah, but
Outside.
the one of the biggest things, the reason why he didn't want to be on the team was because he doesn't get along with John Constantine.
Oh.
And the
Who does?
Zatanna on occasion.
Zatanna on occasion when
I mean, there's two courts, heaven and hell, that pretty much don't get along with John Constantine.
Well, no one gets along with John Constantine. I mean,
Just saying.
John Constantine, he's
a reprehensible with a capital D.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to bleep that out.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to really
Yeah.
just kind of
I've done that before.
But no, John Constantine is not. He's
John
not
Constantine equals not nice, good guy.
What is it? Was he fall under chaotic good, or is he more
neutral?
Way worse.
Chaotic neutral, or chaotic? What's in the middle?
Well, he's not all that self-serving, actually. That's kind of weird.
I don't know, man. I mean, early Hellblazer, the only time John ever cashed in a favor was when he knew the person he was cashing the favor on was gonna die.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got an agenda, but usually it isn't perfectly focused on himself. But
Well,
yeah,
he doesn't
John's not a good guy.
John never actually intentionally gets anyone killed, but he generally knows going into situations that there's a good chance that they will get killed.
Yeah. John's not really that great of a person, but
And
he's not on the team, so
Yeah.
Swamp Thing can be here, and
Yeah,
he looks pretty angry actually,
And
but that's just because they're posing for a picture.
And
Nobody's
really, I mean,
taking.
if you look at the cover, I mean, he's got like a Pirates of the Caribbean 2 Davy Jones kind of thing going on.
yeah, he actually does.
like the tentacle beard kind of stuff, but they're really vines. But yeah,
I mean, I like the art looking. The art's looking pretty good. It's a very odd lineup, but it looks pretty interesting. It looks like an interesting book. I'm excited to see what they do.
I don't know. I like most of it there, but if you look at the cover, the standard cover, non-variants, Wonder Woman looks a little like China from the WWE to me, but it's just my opinion. The rest of the cover is pretty good. Very, very broad jawline is what I'm getting at.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say she looks like China, but yeah, I can see the jawline thing. Yeah, definitely. It's very. I think we're trying to go for a very strong, in control look.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it looks pretty. It looks interesting. It looks like it's going to be a book that could be a lot of fun if they do it right. If they don't, it's going to be another book where we're kind of like, all right, when are we going to be told that this is only like a mini or maxi series?
Yeah.
But hey, look, it's a first issue, and James Tynion, he's impressed me with his detective run. It's probably been the best detective run in the last 5 years.
Oh. Okay.
It's just been he just had a great run with the way that the Bat family characters interacted, what he was doing with all of them. So I'm hoping that he's going to be able to do the same kind of thing with these characters and this story. So
we shall see.
But and again, I don't know. I don't know that he might. I don't know if he will be able to do it with these characters because these characters they're not as tight knit as the Bat family. The Bat family has history. They have connections. They have certain people. Who gets along in the family and who doesn't, and the people who are trying to hold the family together, kind of thing.
Well, we will definitely see who gets along and doesn't in the new Justice League Dark issue.
Yes,
as we will. What's up next on the new releases?
This
week?
The next big new release we got Mr. and Mrs. X #1. So
the book spinning out of the X-Men Gold event.
Yes,
So
the X-Men
that's
Gold
going to be
wedding
their event. Yeah, if you don't know about you probably know about the book at this point. So
yeah,
spoilers doesn't really matter.
I mean, at this point, Mr. and Mrs. X #1 is out. The covers are all out, so there's no spoilers anymore. Rogue and Gambit are married. The book is about them. It's about them, going forward and being a married X-Men mutant superhero couple.
I like the fact that they can finally hold each other and be an actual normal couple for once.
Yeah.
And that's nice to see them finally. It took them years, decades, maybe half a century, I think.
No.
How long have they been around?
Since the 80s is how long Gambit's been around.
Okay, so not nearly as long as I thought.
Rogue showed up in the 70s. Gambit showed up in the mid to late 80s.
You all right there, bud?
I am laughing at your complete lack of grasp of time. Just half a century. My God, man.
That's like 50 years, you know? So
Right.
It's like
so
30 years.
We're not even close to half
I
a
was like
century at this
20
point in
years
time.
off.
That's
Yeah,
a long time to be off.
It's a pretty long time to be off.
Hey, man.
That's the difference between having a toddler and having somebody who's out living on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most people don't go out living on their own until they're like 35 now anyway, so
That's true. I'm almost 20.
And let's not go there. Mr. and Mrs. X, though, it looks like it could be some fun. We've always had fun with Wolverine, Jesus, with Gambit and Rogue. Rogue's always been a fun character, and a lot of people like Gambit. I still can't figure out why, but people like him, so
Hey, man,
it works
listen,
out. And he can be fun with paired with the right person.
I mean, there's a lot of history with Gambit though, where
Sure.
it's a very questionable. Especially
I
when
guess.
yeah. There's a lot of things that he's done that's very questionable, especially to the X-Men or to allies of the X-Men.
Well, there's a lot of things if you go back in Rogue's history that were questionable to the X-Men and allies of the X-Men.
Yes.
Flawed characters.
I mean, she was a major contender in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants at one point in time. She's one of their powerhouses.
Yeah, definitely. She almost killed Ms. Marvel. So
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I mean that was a big thing. I mean she locked those powers down for a while.
Yeah, she stole Carol's mind enough that Carol had to go off and do space and hang out with Scott Summers' father, which is a fate worse than death, and rename herself Binary.
I'd rather hang out with Scott Summers' dad than Scott Summers.
No, just nobody's from the Summers family. They're all horrible.
Corsair is a pretty cool dude.
No, they're all horrible. I'm just going there. They're all horrible.
Fine. This is not the time for the debate.
Right.
This is the time to get into the news for the week.
Okay. Up next for the new releases is another really big. It's a big release for X-Men fans. It's the second part of the retelling of the X-Men history. It's called X-Men Grand Design Second Genesis. It's gonna be, I believe it's a 2 or 3 parter. That's gonna talk about the history of the X-Men from the Giant Size X-Men #1 all the way to probably the end of the Dark Phoenix saga, I would imagine.
Nice, yeah.
So the last one, the regular
that's my X-Men. That's
Yeah.
in my opinion, the best stuff.
Yeah.
The absolute best stuff.
The previous series of X-Men Grand Design, the first series was it was just a recap of it was a retelling of everything up to the Giant Size X-Men #1, where they had the breakout team that became the most popular.
Right.
Because you got Wolverine and you got your Nightcrawlers and whatnot.
Colossus.
Yeah, but you had some great storylines going on
yeah.
through. I mean, the storylines with Nimrod and the Hellfire Club, and even the random stuff with the Black Tom and Juggernaut. They were great issues, great stories.
All the Shi'ar stuff was in that.
Shi'ar stuff, Count Nefario.
Most, if not all of
the
their
Brood,
stuff
Brood,
there.
which was basically their gigantic Predator ripoff. Or not Predator, Aliens. Sorry,
Yeah.
Aliens.
What's
You
that?
know,
I mean,
great.
aside from all the stuff that was created by Lee and Kirby.
Sure.
The original Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, the staple, some of the staple villains, Magneto, Blob, all those characters.
Right, and of course you see all of those villains show up during this run as well, but I'm just talking about the things that were unique to this group.
When you talk about the definitive run of X-Men, you're talking Claremont and Byrne.
Right.
This is this is probably, I mean, you can argue the fact, the definitive run is Lee and Kirby because, without Lee and Kirby, you'd never have the characters to do the Byrne and Claremont run. But they stole those characters. It's like Joe Cocker stealing "Have a Little Help from My Friends" from the Beatles. That song became an amazing hit when he took it over. Same thing with the X-Men with Claremont and Byrne. Because prior to Claremont and Byrne taking over, that book had been canceled, and all they were doing were reprint issues. Like I think there's 20 issues or so that are just reprints of old issues.
Yeah, I mean the original 5 X-Men had a really good point to the series. It was outsiders and they're unique and they've got their own issues and they go to a special school and they've got powers and yada yada
Everybody
yada.
hates them.
It's cool. It's cool. But the original 5, there's like one of them that you would want to hang out with. The rest of them you just want to punch them in the face. I mean,
One of them
consistently. Bobby. Bobby was probably the most relatable of all the original X-Men.
Yeah, probably.
Jean is a stuck-up, all sorts of bad words in the original series. Watch how she acts in the original series. She's terrible. Scott is a fumbling moron.
Yeah, that's when she comes back, she outs Bobby just because
Right.
she's like, reading
Right.
people's minds without their permission.
Which is just a retcon and a half, by the way, because the Bobby character was never, ever written anything like that. It's all nonsense.
Oh yeah, they completely changed his character afterwards
Right.
too. He acts completely
Hank-
differently.
Hank's a prima donna. Warren's a spoiled brat. And Scott initially is a bumbling moron who comes back very egotistical once he becomes, the commander of the team, the leader of the team. Bobby was fairly relatable. He had a bit of a prankster style to him, but he was a good guy.
I don't know.
In general.
I think I could. I think a close second to hang out with probably would have been Beast.
Yeah, I would have said Hank as a
Yeah,
close
Hank-
second.
Hank's
Yeah.
definitely-
It's just he's thinking on a level that's just too much for most people, though.
Well,
I mean, he's just
but you
too
also-
smart.
Yeah, but you also got to remember. I mean, the original Hank was also hung up way too much on trying to figure out how not to be a mutant.
Yeah.
So
And then
But-
he got karma super hard for it.
yeah,
Right, he got blue fur.
yeah.
Originally gray, I believe, right?
Right.
But and that's the thing. And again, like I mean, I don't make any bones about hiding the fact that I am not a Scott Summers fan at all.
No, Scott's terrible. He's just the worst.
But you know what? Here's the thing, though. Post Dark Phoenix saga,
Mhm.
everything for Claremont and Byrne, that entire run, that's where I see people. I can agree with people. Scott really was the heart and soul of that team. Scott was probably a character. He was one of the characters that, and Wolverine says it on you're gonna have to bleep this out because I am quoting this book. He says it flat out. Wolverine. He says, on any given day, Scott Summers can be everything and anything that the X-Men mean, and on another day he can be a dick. And that's kind of where we're at.
I don't know. For me, I always thought that Aurora was a much better leader of the team. I always thought Storm did a much better job overall.
Okay.
And she proved it not only when she was the powerhouse on the team for a while, because she was pretty much the most powerful member of the team for a good long while. And then after she lost her powers, she was still able to run the team for a while.
Yeah, that was when she went. That was when she did the complete change where she was doing. She got the mohawk and she had the.
And she started hanging out with the Morlocks and
Yeah.
everything else.
Well,
like
that was also when she lost her powers. When she beat Scott to take over the team.
yeah. After losing her powers, beats the guy who's supposed to be the absolute best
Why?
because she wanted to be in charge of the team, and
There
they would have rather had her, and she winds up beating him in one-on-one combat.
Well, one
Was
of
that the thing? He's like, if you beat me up, you can do it.
well, what
yeah,
happened
more or
was
less, it was kind of like a bet.
no. The main story behind that was that Scott had just gotten married to Madeline Pryor,
Right,
Okay.
and she was pregnant,
right.
and they kept telling him, Scott, you really need to leave. You got to go have your family.
Go to Antarctica.
And it was actually Alaska, but
Alaska.
anyway,
Alaska. Whatever.
but he didn't want to leave, and Madeline wanted him to leave, and everyone else was kind of like, Scott, you should go be with your family. So the stipulation was that if Storm could beat him in a battle in the danger
In
room,
the danger room, yeah.
he would relinquish leadership of the X-Men to Storm.
The underlying context wasn't Scott, you need to go be with your family. It's Scott, go away. We don't want you around because everybody hates you, including your brother.
We found it.
Everybody hates you,
Which one?
Alex, because the other one doesn't exist, and I'm not even going to acknowledge it.
Really? We had a long discussion.
We
Devon
did.
and I had a long discussion about the third brother, the third Summers brother.
Well, that was also
And not many people. I didn't know he existed until you told me about
I was
it.
completely aware
Gabriel
of the fact that
Summers.
he existed and the fact that they had to screw everything up because at one point in time they intended for it to be Gambit, and they had to change everything around. It's
They
another,
intended Gambit to be his brother.
at one point in time, yeah,
really.
They did.
Oh,
They
well,
wanted him to
would,
be the third brother. Or did
that
they
would
want him
make
to be?
He was number 3.
well,
originally.
that would make sense with Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Sinister was a big manipulator behind all of Gambit's stuff.
Right. It's kind of like the
That would have been interesting.
Well, there's also-
oh, come on, what's his name? Captain Atom. It's kind of like the Captain Atom to Hawk.
Yeah.
In the Millennium
In-
event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, one of the other, and actually right now, it's never been confirmed, but everyone's pretty sure, as far as what they've built up in X-Men lore, Sinister is actually Gambit's father.
Oh.
Like I mean, you look at the looks of the characters. You look at the two characters, put them side by side. They're almost identical.
That'd be interesting.
They look very similar. I mean,
There's a lot of like lineage between the X-Men, like Mystique and Azazel being Nightcrawler's parents, and then Rogue being Mystique's adopted daughter.
Yeah.
An X-Men evolution that was really well done when Nightcrawler's like, yeah, we're siblings. And she's like, no, our parents are garbage. They're Garbo people. Stop being excited about this.
So, but yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah, X-Men Grand Design comes out this week. It's Grand Design Second Genesis.
Let's get
Yeah,
excited.
in most of the opinion, it focuses on the history of probably the best run of X-Men.
Yeah, it's a fantastic way to get in on all that stuff, learn about all the things
Yeah.
that you probably don't know about these days if you're reading the books.
All right. So next up, we got all the big news. What relatively big news? Everything that wasn't mentioned at San Diego.
Yeah.
So first up, some actually kind of really depressing news. The Simpsons comic is going to be ending with issue 245 later this
When
year.
you texted me Simpsons ending, I thought you meant the show.
No, the
Okay,
comic.
the comic
is
is
ending. The comic's ending.
I'm a little less shocked, I'm going to be honest.
And unfortunately, with the Simpsons ending, it also looks like Bongo Comics, who publish it, are actually also going under.
I was
at
going
the
to say it
same
was
time.
their only money-making comic, so yeah.
Oh yeah,
That-
next.
And
is
we're done here.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it was everything that Matt Groening, is that how you say his
Groening,
name?
yeah.
He, all the books that they put out really were the books that he came up with.
Right.
Simpsons, Futurama, Bart Simpson. It was all stuff that basically was based off Simpsons and Futurama. So, and I don't know if you can't really run a comic company based on just a handful of books, but
Particle
Yeah.
Man and Fallout Boy. The goggles do nothing.
So that's some sad news, unfortunately.
Sorry, Bongo.
Hopefully this,
I am less sad than you are, but
No, I mean it's a
It's sad to hear. Like I never read any of their books, but it's unfortunate to hear that a company's
right.
going
And
under.
I always feel bad for
Yeah.
that type of thing. But I'm less shocked than you are. And,
yeah,
you
but
know.
at the same time, I mean the thing is that the Simpsons comic, which is it's always been a nice version of the Simpsons, especially for kids, because
Right.
kids love Bart and they love all the stuff from the Simpsons, and it's always been a kids book for them to read that doesn't give them all the political satire and other shenanigans from the show. So it's gonna be sad to see that go as far as a kids comic that's always been a staple.
Well, perhaps I'm coming at it from the same standpoint as Will was, because I had that initial shock moment thinking that the show was done, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. And
Yeah.
then finding out that it was the comic, I was kind of like, okay, no, that doesn't surprise me so much.
All right. So that we have that bit of sad news. Next thing we have up here is actually it's been a building rumor for a little bit. We have
Confirmed? Rumor confirmed?
not sure.
Okay.
But it's been popping up in the news a lot as to what's going on with the original Wally West. We talked I think last week about how he was possibly retiring from the role of Flash.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So the new rumor right now is that writer Brian Azzarello is going to be relaunching the Suicide Squad book, and Wally West will be part of that team.
I'm not ecstatic.
Yeah, not either.
So
That's
I
a
mean,
really
I
dumb idea. I've always
How many relaunches do we need on the Suicide Squad first? Secondly,
when I say relaunch, it's the new writer
Secondly,
taking over.
Wally is so much more powerful than anybody who has ever been on the Suicide Squad that it is absolutely ludicrous.
It's also why
He's
is he on the
Justice
Suicide
League
Squad?
powerful.
That doesn't make any. That wouldn't make any sense. They
Right.
had a speedster before. It was the new Wally's dad, right? He was on there, and then he kind of like fell apart and he died because he kind of just fell apart for no reason.
I'm not.
I'm not talking about
also
like
had
emotionally. Like he physically just stopped working, and they were like,
Right.
your speedster just like crapped out on you."
Well, they also had the second Captain Boomerang, who had super speed for a little while too.
Ah,
Yeah.
So that was another.
Well, that was
semi-speedster.
wasn't that
if that
Boomerang's son?
happens,
Yeah.
That was Boomerang's son. Yeah.
I'm not ecstatic for it, but I'm curious to see how they're going to work Wally West, because they did kind of, I guess you could say they hinted at it with the Teen Titans special when new Wally's like, "Hey, we should probably stop the Suicide Squad," and old Wally's like, "No, Barry said they're cool. We should let them do their thing." And then it turns out new Wally's right because they end up murdering someone.
It's ludicrous. It is a real-world equivalent of taking a Special Forces commando and having him assigned to a Cub Scout meeting. You know, just as a member of the Cub Scouts.
But I mean, but
Just
here's
insane.
But here's the thing: we also don't know how this. I mean, Brian Azzarello is a very talented writer, and we don't know. Again, this is a rumor right now, and we don't know the context of what it's going to be if it does happen. I mean,
Superman playing Pop Warner. Come on.
okay. But again, like I said, if we have to look at the context of what it's going to be when it comes out. There's a chance that this isn't This isn't Task Force X. This may not be a government-run team. This might be Wally West going, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to make my own team," and he's just going
Of
to
supervillains.
maybe not. I don't know if it's going to be supervillains or if it's going to be,
Because that's the thing. Is also like, why does that fit there? The Suicide Squad is supposed to be a team of supervillains,
Right.
and Katana, and running around, like doing things because the government told them to, or they're gonna get their
Right.
heads blown off.
Yeah,
What is
but-
Wally West's motivation to be on that team?
Yeah, exactly. It's Mission Impossible with a far more violent streak to it.
Yeah, but again, like I said,
Mission
we also,
Impossible meets the Dirty Dozen, if you will.
But there could just be speculation that's going to be called Suicide Squad. It might not be called Suicide Squad.
All right,
It
we
might be-
shall see.
But again, like that, and that's the thing. I'm willing to see what they're gonna do. I mean, for me, as being a Wally West fan, I probably will pick up the book at least to see where the first arc goes because I like Wally enough that I'm willing to give it a shot.
Okay. We shall see.
So yeah, we'll see what happens when all that comes back around.
I'm glad that you clarified that it is original Wally West that's going to be doing this right off the bat, and then so that we aren't confused as to which Wally West it is anymore.
Yes. So, alrighty. Next piece of news here. The Marvel's The Champions book is going to be getting a makeover for a couple of issues when the team goes into Weird World to track down.
Weird World.
Yes, Weird World is like Marvel's version of the Middle Earth.
Okay.
It's a fantasy. It's basically it's deep fantasy. You go, it's knights and dragons.
And when you say makeover, what do
it
you mean by that?
it looks like what's going on is when the characters go into Weird World.
Let's go meet Frodo for some nail polish.
Woohoo!
Like what?
No, it looks like what's going on is when the champions get to Weird World, whatever the mystical elements of the world are tampering with their powers that they already exist in them.
Right. It'll be the
Oh,
knights.
so
It'll
they're-
be the knights that say knee and they need a shrubbery.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
So like Amadeus chose Hulk. He looks more like a feral ogre kind of character.
Oh.
So it's
So they're just getting like redesigned, kind of. It's screwing with their powers.
Yeah.
For a second, when you were saying that, I thought it was going to be like that scene in I think it's the second live action Scooby Doo where their personalities are getting switched, but in this case, it's their powers.
It was actually the first. It was the first.
It was the first one.
It was the first
Okay.
one.
I always confuse the two.
Yeah.
No, I get it. You're saying that basically they're going to be pulled into this world, and in this world, they basically adopt the personalities of the things that exist within this world.
Yes.
I understand what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
so,
could be interesting.
So it's cool because it's actually fun because it's almost like it's only a 3-issue arc. It's being written by the current writer who's writing it, and it looks fun because it's basically what's going on. It's like it's Champions D&D.
Yeah, they've done
Okay.
they've done things like this with the X-Men actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, there's
So yeah, like Miles Morales, Spider-Man.
right, or even when you get to like way back in the day, you had Storm dressed as one of the Asgardians
Yeah.
at one point in time.
Well, even
because they were sucked into a thing like that.
Yeah, but yeah, and Wolverine was again like an ogre kind of character looking thing.
Freaky little runty goblin.
Yeah, something, you know.
This was before Wolverine was in 15 different books, and therefore, respected character.
But it's fun because like Ms. Marvel, she's gonna be more of like the she's gonna be like the cleric character in the book.
Ms. Marvel, a cleric.
Yeah,
I find that difficult. Oh, Camilla Khan.
Camilla Khan.
Yeah. Sorry.
Not
No,
not Carol.
Wait, no.
She's Captain Marvel
not
now.
Captain
Perhaps
Marvel. Yes.
Paladin.
Yeah, and then Riri Williams is gonna be the knight in shining armor. She's the one. She's got like the obviously.
That's pretty obvious.
So,
yeah.
So it looks like it's gonna be It's gonna be like a fun 3-issue arc of Champions D&D, and it looks like it's gonna be fun.
Okay, we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah. So again, that looks really fun. Hopefully everyone is gonna be down to check it out. It starts with Champions issue 25.
All right.
You all right there, Kyle?
Keep going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, come on, man. Field your opinion on this one. What we got?
No, sir.
No.
Okay.
Alrighty. Next up, real big news for all you Batman fans out there.
Oh?
Batman the Animated Series is going to be getting a complete release on Blu-ray.
Fantastic, and I got to see what it looked like already. And
it looks freaking awesome.
Looks pretty outstanding. I mean, we only had to wait 25 years, but, hey, why not?
Well,
that means you're going to have to wait longer for the Static Shock Blu-ray.
No.
Don't.
Just no.
Just know what?
No Static Shock.
Static Shock was a good show.
I was doing that towards him because he's waiting for the Static Shock.
You know what?
Complete series.
The show wasn't bad. The comic that it was based out of and the other comics that were associated with it were terrible.
The original Milestone stuff wasn't terrible when it started. It wasn't until it got towards the end when it started getting real wonky. So the Batman complete animated series, it looks like it's got a whole bunch of new specials and documentaries.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter if you've ever watched a single episode of it.
Oh my god,
it's totally worth getting.
It's amazing. It comes with 3 pops. It actually comes with 3 pop vinyl figures.
How much is this running?
$112.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's not a bad price for what you're getting
cool.
out of this.
This
is actually really reasonably priced.
Actually, here's my only gripe with the set right now is it's being billed as the complete Batman the Animated Series set. Because they're even including the two of the movies, which is Phantasm and Sub-Zero.
Phantasm.
But they don't have the last movie in it, which is the Mystery of the Batwoman. It's the only thing out of the Batman animated series that's not being included in the set, and I don't know why.
That's really weird.
It is really weird. But it's loaded with all kinds of extras. It's going to have the 2 movies, and everything is being upscaled completely. So,
like I said, again, Kevin Conroy, we're done. You don't need to say anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is...
Everybody from that universe is pretty much the definitive voice of their characers.
Yeah,
they cast that so well.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, again, it's like we talked about on the one podcast. What was it? 2 podcasts ago, when we were talking about the definitive voices that we hear in our.
Yeah.
Whenever I read Batman, that's the voice I hear. I hear
it's
Kevin
gotta be
Conroy.
Conroy.
It's completely voiced in Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
Unless it's bad writing, and then I hear Christian Bale. I never hear Michael Keaton. Damn. Never hear Michael Keaton.
No.
I can't really think of Michael Keaton's voice in my head, actually. I can never really remember. It wasn't really, memorable.
However, in his defense, he is now, anytime I see the Vulture written, Michael Keaton's voice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. For me, it's still the animated series one. Well, that's the thing. I the classic. It's the classic form of the Vulture where he's the old man.
Yeah, the old Adrian.
Yeah, if it's still looking like the old man, I kind of just hear a guy going, "Meh, Spider-Man. It's me, the Vulture," because he looks like a guy that would sound like that. Because he's bald and he's got the pointy nose and he's all scrawny and he's like, "I can fly. I look like a bird."
He was actually the second Spider-Man villain ever created.
Oh, really?
Or the third, technically, if you want to, because the first Spider-Man book was split in half.
Oh, okay.
And as mentioned before, in a past life, Will actually voiced all the Captain Planet villains.
Yes.
Are we just gonna keep bringing that up every podcast?
Every single.
Have you ever
podcast.
watched Captain Planet?
Yes, I have.
Okay. really, like, play this clip back and then watch Captain Planet and tell us you don't sound like the villains from Captain Planet.
You,
Okay.
you do. Plus the fact that you wear the heart ring all the time. Yeah.
And for anyone out there listening, if you are a Captain Planet fan, you have to look up the Don Cheadle as Captain Planet. The videos are amazing.
That is
absolutely
so funny.
amazing.
Tree, you're a tree.
You're a tree.
You're a
Remember,
tree. That was so good.
remember, recycle your plastics and turn off your faucets, or I'll turn you into a tree.
Oh, that was so good. That was such a good video. I haven't seen it in a while. I might go rewatch it. I loved every second of it.
It was just to watch the first one. The other two are not that good. They took a good joke and they just beat it to death.
What, when he conquers the whole planet and everybody's a tree except for the kid with the heart ring? What was his name?
Don't remember.
Yeah, the heart.
I honestly don't remember any of their names.
Nope.
I just remember their
But
powers.
everybody remembers his because his ring was dumb. He had the heart ring.
Right.
Everybody had like earth, wind, fire, water, and
Russian,
heart.
Russian girl was the fire. That's all I remember.
No, she was
wasn't either.
Wind.
She was Wind. It was
The American kid was
the annoying American
yeah.
boy. Okay, yeah,
Which
you're right. You're
really,
right.
when you if you look back on Captain Planet, that's some real hardcore like. She calls him a capitalist pig. She's
Nice.
like, oh yeah, she's like she lays into him a lot in that show.
Captain Socialist. He's a loser. Oh no, never mind.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, no. So
But anyway,
again, yeah.
pick it up when you get the chance. This new Blu-ray collection
it
coming
comes out in October.
What are the pops that are coming with it?
It's Batman, Harley, and Joker.
Ah, okay.
Of course. Yeah.
Obviously. I would have thought Batman, Robin, and Joker would have been a better combination, but
I want Batgirl.
The only way it works if they do Batman, Robin, and Joker is if Joker comes with a crowbar.
I got to tell you though, I really kind
Joker never did that. Jason Todd never showed up in that show. That wouldn't make any
Jason
sense.
Todd never showed up in Batman.
It was only
And
Dick
however-
and Tim. They skipped over Jason.
Yes. However, if you watch the Batman Beyond movie,
Yes, it's acknowledged.
it's acknowledged because it's everything he did to Jason, he does worse to Tim.
Right.
Which I
Oh
hate.
my God! Yeah, that episode was.
It was
Oh
a
Jesus!
movie, but yes.
Movie.
Our movie, yes.
Regardless, it's still my favorite version of Barbara.
Oh
Is from the animated series. I like Barbara a lot in that.
yeah. Who voiced it? Does Tara voice her in that show?
Can't even remember, but great voice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And for those of you who are actually just comic book fans straight up and have never watched it, this is where Harley comes from. Harley Quinn was
First
born
appearance
in the
was in
This
the
is the
Batman.
original.
She was
animated
born
series.
in the animated series.
So I guess it
And
kind of
I-
does make sense that her pop comes with this because this is where she came from.
Yeah, actually it does. Yeah, but you know what? And honestly, this is something where we have to. You've seen all of it, I take it, Will? The original Batman the animated series.
I have not actually.
Okay, we're gonna have to rectify that. We're doing like a marathon later.
I'm
Kyle,
down. I'm totally down for that.
yeah,
Okay.
but really we should do a podcast and go over all our favorite episodes because there are some amazing.
Some great episodes.
Oh my God. How I got them, or I almost got them. That was remember that episode?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where they're
yeah.
tell- where they're
where
all
they're all
sitting
telling the tall
playing
tales.
yeah,
and then he winds up.
yeah, that was a great episode.
We don't want to give out spoilers.
Oh yeah. Oh, and the episode where Barbara, what happens to Barbara and they find out who Batman is.
Right.
That was a great episode.
Mm.
Oh yeah, no, that was a two-parter too, and it looked bad. It looked bad for Bruce and everyone involved.
Oh jeez.
I think did Alfred get shot in that episode?
I believe so, but man, this is 20-some odd years ago. So
Yeah, that's it.
not
That's a
100%
long
certain.
time.
Yeah, you forget stuff.
That's the distance between being a toddler and moving out of your parents' house.
In previous generations of people.
Yeah, of course.
as we've already
Obviously.
discussed.
All came back around. That's
Yes, it
that's
did.
how we do it on the podcast.
Now I can't cut that part out that makes me look stupid because I brought it back up later.
Right, and just for our live member who isn't here tonight, screw you, Scott. I have standards.
Nice.
All right, so yeah, everyone, listen. Batman the Animated Series, probably the single greatest comic book animated series of all time. If you don't already own it, go out and get it. It's going to be awesome. Comes out October 28th, I believe.
Yeah, we get absolutely nothing from plugging this thing. It's just the love of it is so high that we really would love to see other people seeing it and watching it. It's not like they're bringing it back. They're not going to make more of it. But it's just so good. If you haven't had the opportunity to experience this or pass it on to a younger generation, give it a shot because it's really got some great source material.
I mean, you say they're not bringing it back, but
I think they're bringing. They might not bring that back, but they might bring Justice League back.
Justice League's
because the Justice League cast is like is really like they keep reuniting and they keep doing script readings and they're doing interviews together. And DC Universe is pushing their merch. Their figure every time you see advertisements for the shopping, it's always the Justice League figures.
You know what though, man? They've got to get something going right because that Titans trailer, holy crap! I want to hurt myself after watching that.
I will be honest though,
so bad.
I actually needed a hug after seeing that.
That
trailer.
version of Starfire makes me literally want to ram my head into the wall until I don't see things anymore.
That's not even my even my least favorite thing from the trailer. Like I don't like the Starfire at all. Yeah, Robin's not that. Like everything that was a part of that, even I've complained about this, but the sound effect when he crunches that guy's neck was like, what? Where did you find that?
When the best redeeming qualities that you have are an underplayed Raven and a changeling that doesn't just totally offend you right off the bat. Those are the best redeeming qualities of that trailer. Everything else in it's bad.
But to be fair, though, that was like the worst thing that came out of DC. Like their TV show trailers, half of the each trailer, the first half of it was a recap, so it wasn't like revolutionary. But their movie trailers and all that stuff were pretty good. And Young Justice
on some level, though, they're ruining my childhood life because I've been a Hawk and Dove fan forever. Okay?
Oh yeah.
As previously mentioned, I'm still a Wild
I was
Dog
excited
fan
to
from way
see
back.
what you were going to think.
Jack Wheeler, not this idiot that appears in Arrow. You know, the minor midget that appears in Arrow is not the Jack Wheeler Wild Dog character. But fine, whatever for that. The whole point is, though, Hawk and Dove, I was hoping so much, just hoping against hope, that for once we would have Hawk and Dove represented and they wouldn't be total clowns. The only time that they've ever had anything good was in that one episode of Justice League. I think that was unlimited.
Cool. Yeah, it was unlimited. I would assume if they brought back Justice League, it would be unlimited.
Right.
Unless this was like maybe a not so distant future where the league had been disbanded and they bring everybody back.
The other thing too is, one of my biggest problems, probably my biggest problem with the trailer, aside from the thing that Robin says in the trailer, which is the colorful word Batman.
Batman.
Yeah. Is the fact that he's Robin.
Right.
He's a cop. He's apparently in Bloodhaven, and he's a cop. He should be Nightwing.
That's the thing, though. In the show, he's supposed to become Nightwing. That's supposed to be his arc. At least for I don't know if it's going to be a short one or it's going to take the whole season.
So what's the arc? I'm really angry and killing people because I'm still wearing my 12-year-old.
Yeah,
pants.
I don't know what it is with the killing thing.
What is that? I'm mad and I'm killing people.
This trailer is every single thing that Wade Wilson warned you about. You're so dark. What are you, from the DC universe?
Yeah,
it's just that bad.
It's quite.
I know I'm way off topic on this, but still, it's just so painful.
All right, but again, everyone.
But bottom line, if they bring back Justice League, unlimited or not, I'm down. I'm down for it. Go for it.
They already said that one of the first things they're putting on the streaming service is the HD version of Batman the Animated Series. And now they're releasing the full series.
And like you said, now that they have the streaming service, they can do whatever they want. Yeah. So I'm down for it. I'm probably going to get it.
Back.
You get most of Batman's rogues gallery in the animated series too, which is really phenomenal.
The one bad part I think about Justice League,
really good ones.
The one part about Justice League that was probably lacking was the lack of Batman villains.
Right.
Well, that was the Christopher Nolan embargo.
Yeah, that was the embargo.
But also the fact that Batman villains don't really stand up when you're dealing with Superman, for instance.
Yeah, there are a few, but Joker makes an appearance.
It's one of the reasons that I was never really such a huge Superman fan, because he's just too much. He's just too much.
Well, that's why they depowered a lot of the characters for that show.
Well,
they actually depowered him so much, they got so many complaints, so they had to buff Superman back up.
Superman could push planets around.
Oh,
literally could push planets around.
Yeah.
You go into the movies, he could fly around the planet backwards.
In the Justice League iteration, he needs a spacesuit to live in space.
Well, here's the thing.
Right. Well, when they did oh, good Lord. way back after the original Crisis of Infinite Earths, when they relaunched Superman at that point in time, he had problems like that. He couldn't breathe in outer space any longer. He couldn't last for long periods of time. So the fact that Justice League took some liberty with that, yeah, there was a few things here and there.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, hopefully at the end of the day, we're gonna be getting some cool new DC animated stuff.
Fantastic.
And
because at least their animated universe
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing. Mark Hamill can say as much as he wants every time he does a Joker. Oh yeah, this is my last time I'm doing Joker.
Yeah.
He's said that how many times now? 6.
Yeah.
At least.
All I know is that he retired for a short time, then he came back. Oh, excuse me.
Well, he retired when Batman the Animated Series ended.
Right.
Then he came back for Batman Beyond.
No.
Then he was done after that. Then he came back for Justice League. Then he was done after that. Then he came back for one of the animated movies.
He was the.
Or no, he came back for the games. He came back for the games.
Okay.
The Arkham games.
Yeah.
Then he said, "I'm done. I'm not doing any more after this." And then he came back for Killing Joke.
And if you've never
he is also the Joker on the new animated Justice League series, Justice League Action. He's the Joker on that, and Kevin Conroy is Batman.
And if you've never gotten a chance, YouTube up Mark Hamill, Tara Strong, Joker, and Harley, and just watch the clip of the two of them together. It's hilarious.
All right, so that's our Batman the Animated Series news and rant. Tune back in for an episode one day when we actually just do nothing but discuss Batman the Animated Series.
That'll be interesting.
It's probably worth at least four or five podcasts.
Oh yeah.
We could rate all the different Batman shows that they've done.
Yeah, it's real easy. It's Batman the Animated Series is number 1. Everything else is 0.
Distant second. There's a couple of.
We could
decent
just
ones.
talk about that established universe. That could be an entire podcast.
Yeah.
Not just solely lighting on the Batman the Animated Series, but everything. The Superman shows, the
I like
Justice
it better
League,
than
Static
the
Shock.
DCU.
The DCEU there, yeah. All right,
That'll be its own thing.
Anyway, okay, so moving on, guys, we have another new comic series that's going to be coming out from DC called Electric Warriors. This series looks like what's going to be going on is it's going to be reviving 2 different properties that that DC owns right now. The Electric Warriors, which from my understanding were, they were 90s characters that were, at best, C-list characters that never really got off the ground. But they're getting revamped to, it looks like they're going to be living in the an alternate future that was originally created by Jack Kirby, which takes place in a world after what's called the Great Disaster. So I think they said that it's taking place in like 2532 or something is the year that's going to be taking place. So I mean, Kyle, you were probably know more about that era of characters than I would. I mean, any takes on what you'd expect to see from a Kirby-esque book like that?
The problem is the character, the Electric Warrior, the original character. It was about as forgettable as you could get. I mean, it's up there with Chain Gang War. Do you remember Chain Gang War?
No.
No, and you work in a comic book shop. I remember Chain Gang War. It was awful.
Okay.
I liked it when I was a kid, but it was awful. It's one of these characters that you just can't even imagine at all them revamping it. It's like if Deathlock was the main character in the Marvel Universe all of a sudden, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You would just have to question the entire thing. But the fact that you've got Kirby involved with it really makes it kind of interesting.
Yeah.
He was a cyborg-esque character. I'm trying to think of anything that I could equate him to that would make him interesting.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a team of characters. It looks like there was
right,
like a bunch of them.
And that's the trick. The Electric Warrior's the only one that I know. I don't know any of the rest of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think setting it in Jack Kirby's Great Disaster future is going to be something that might help?
Well, that's what I'm saying is going to be the draw out of the whole thing. It's
Yeah.
like if I brought back Nth Man, the Ultimate Ninja. Do you remember that series?
Yes.
No, you do? My God.
Yeah. No, yes, I remember Nth Man.
That was terrible.
Yeah, well, here you go. You know what? Blast from the past. You remember Biker Mice?
I do.
Yeah.
I remember Biker Mice very well.
Yeah, Biker
Yes.
Mice from Mars.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yep,
Remember
that was
Captain Bucky O'Hare? Bucky O'Hare, the rabbit?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I even
Yeah.
remember the theme song for that thing.
Oh yeah, no.
I was at one point in time when it came to October Country the king of starting any series and guaranteeing that it was going to be canceled. If I started to collect a series, it was going to last 2 more issues and then it would be out. It didn't matter what it was or how stable the series was. At one point in time, Mike was rooting for me to start buying certain series to make them go away.
Nice.
So, you know.
Hey, look, you know, the series might have ended, but the characters carry on. I mean, look, Wild Dog is on TV now.
I hate you.
He's a mainstay in Arrow.
Yeah.
He's 5'6" and can't shoot. The real character was a defensive lineman who later on joined the Marine Corps and hits everything that he shoots at.
Well, he was
not
the
a good version
Well,
of
Wild Dog was the precursor to Casey Jones.
Ugh.
Well, he was. He came out before Casey Jones, I think, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
The character came out.
And I mean, when if you look at the original design of Wild Dog, and then you look at Casey Jones,
it's not a
Eastman
good
and
character.
Eastman and Laird kind of ripped that character.
Not really. Not really. The Wild Dog character was as two-dimensional as they get. He was just a bad version of the Punisher. And I mean, that seemed to be what DC was shooting for more than anything at the time.
What was Casey Jones?
Casey Jones was meant to be...
The most depth that Casey Jones had was, I really like April.
He beats people up with sports apparel
Yes.
versus the Punisher who shoots you with guns.
No, sports equipment.
and apparel. He has a hockey
Nice.
mask
He
on.
does,
That's
yes.
apparel.
Okay.
And he wears pads, which is also apparel. So
Then we have the Sports Master. Just a lot of sports themed heroes and villains.
How often those?
Hey,
how
hey,
often did he?
Don't you bash on Batman's villains, because he had some of the craziest, goofiest villains way back.
So
I mean,
That's true.
Calendar Man, dude, come on.
yeah, but
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
so
The
Kyle,
calculator.
Kite Man.
Kite
I'm
Man.
excited.
Oh yeah.
Jokes and riddles got
telling
me
you.
really into Kite Man.
Yeah.
I love him. I love
But
this new iteration.
Listen, back to Wild Dog and Casey Jones. I mean, which one do you think changed their hockey pads more often, Kyle?
I'm not wearing hockey pants.
Actually, I can honestly say that Casey Jones existed in more issues than Wild Dog did. However, the original Wild Dog was recently brought back in Cave Carson for a little while, which, if you're reading that, Lord have mercy on you and enjoy your time in the mental institution. But now, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just really trippy. It's kind of like watching Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Some people are totally going to get it, and other people are going to be like, what is happening? This is not my thing. For me, not my thing.
All right, yeah, I guess that's a fair assessment. So yeah, that's there you go, guys. I mean, Electric Warriors. We're gonna try and revamp them and put them in a Kirby setting. Maybe that'll help. Not sure. I mean, Kirby. Was one of the only people who could write his stuff. I'm not so sure how how they're gonna translate it over now.
We shall see. Jesus Christ, that character looks like... Yeah, I'm not surprised that character didn't stick.
Huh.
And if you go back and you try to Google some of the old Electric Warrior DC comics, you'll look at the covers and go, "What? How
Looks
did
like-
they think they were going to sell this?"
He looks like a motorcycle fetish cross between Judge Dredd and Orion.
And a little bit of Pinhead thrown in.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
a little bit.
Don't like it.
Anyway.
So next bit of news for all you Gail Simone fans out there.
Really, really too bad Steve is not here right now, because he would literally be peeing himself with glee.
Gail Simone has been named chief creative architect of the new superhero line called Catalyst Prime at Lion Forge Comics. It's a small publisher.
Okay.
And right now, I guess Gail is she's taken over the what they're gonna do as far as shared universe stories, and she's gonna be kind of crafting. She's kind of the showrunner right now.
Okay.
So
Good for her.
She's the Kevin Feige of their universe.
yes, but
Did
comics.
you say it that way on purpose?
Yes.
Okay.
How
I
do
just
you
had to
say
make
his
sure.
name? Is it
Feige?
It's Feige.
Feige.
It is Feige.
See, I always thought it was like you combine the sound, so I thought it was like always phage.
Ooh.
Feige.
You seem like you're doing a Joe Dirt moment here,
For
Joe
Gile?
Dirte.
Oh, okay.
Gussy it up any way you want, boy. Your name's Dirt.
But yeah, no. So that's good for Gail. I think I'm excited for her to see.
Yeah.
Maybe she can put Lion Forge Comics on the map a little bit. They've been doing okay. They've been around for a couple of years now, so
Not overly familiar with the company. I've just enjoyed her work in general. So hey, I'll give it a look.
yeah. From everything I've seen, they got it's they created traditional kind of hero tropes. There's the speedster character, which I think his name is like, I think it's like Axel or something. I think that's how you say his name, or it's all kinds of interesting superhero tropes that
Well, we'll see what comes out of that.
Yeah, I mean, she's a good writer.
Yeah, I've heard good things about her work. So
I was going to say what'll come out of that is the best run of Catwoman that won't be written as Catwoman.
Yes. Well, it's kind of like there's a lot of books like that where the writers decide, hey, I really want to tell a story about that character, but I can't use that character anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to think of what.
There's a big chunk of Judge Dredd that was actually originally intended to be written as a Batman, or the other way around, one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I thought that was always pretty cool.
Oh. Well, it's also like it's always fun. Like the artist Lionel Yu. I don't know if you ever knew this, but he used to get in a lot of trouble with Marvel because at the time Marvel didn't own the rights to Howard the Duck anymore. Because it was up in the air with Steve Gerber, the creator of Howard the Duck, and he kept drawing Howard the Duck into panels in books that were coming out.
Yep.
Nice.
And they were like, you can't do that. You're gonna get us in trouble.
Nice.
Like we're gonna get sued.
I'm still holding my breath for Howard the Duck with the Infinity Gauntlet in the next movie.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great.
In conclusion, congrats, Gail Simone.
Yes.
Good job.
All right, the last bit of news is it actually ties into one of the new releases this week. There's going to be a crossover between Wonder Woman and Justice League Dark called The Witching Hour.
That's really weird. Yeah, I was talking to you about this before. That is really strange because Wonder Woman is in the Justice League Dark. Yeah. So why would it be necessary
I run the team.
to cross
Let's
her?
have a crossover with my team.
Well, I think it's one of those things where they want to tell a story, but they want to accelerate the rate that it comes out.
Yeah, but I mean, allow myself to introduce myself. I mean, what the heck?
Well, no, it's just the story. What they're doing is it's probably going to be a 5-part story that they want to tell in 2 months. So they're going to have part 1 in it's basically just going to be written by one writer.
It's like Night of the Monster Men, where it was Detective Batman and Nightwing.
Yes. And it's actually, surprisingly enough, it's the same writer. It's Steve Orlando is going to be doing the crossover event.
Okay.
So he did Night of the Monster Men. I'm hoping that this one is going to be a little bit more spectacular.
Yeah,
Night of the Monster Men kind of fell a little flat.
Yeah, it felt like it was written by multiple people because the Batman issue was good, and then I opened up my first detective issue ever, and Batman could not hear Kevin Conroy saying the words that were escaping Batman's mouth.
Yeah,
I can't let any of you go out there, not after what happened to Tim. Is any of this related to what happened to Tim? He got sucked up by like Superman's dad and put in a weird prison. I mean, you all think he's dead, but still.
Know that at the time.
Yeah, he thought he was dead, but I don't know. Batman just was really weird in that issue.
No, so yes, the Wonder Woman Justice League Dark crossover is happening this fall. It's taking place in October, before the creative team change for Wonder Woman. Which, again, we discussed last time is going to be G. Willow Wilson and Carrie Nord are taking over.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that more than I am the crossover between Wonder Woman
definitely.
and her own team.
And you know what it is, and that's the other thing, too, is that they're definitely cramming in this crossover before the creative switch because I'm sure G. Willow Wilson has a story that she has planned that is not making room for a crossover.
You know what else I just realized? I don't think I ever saw like Captain America and the Avengers in a Captain America book.
Like a crossover between the Captain America
It wouldn't
book
be a
and
crossover. Like
Avengers?
certain members of the Avengers appeared in Captain America. Yeah, okay, like...
Yeah, but what I'm talking about, you have crossover events where it's the Avengers and it goes into Iron Man, Cap,
Yeah, it's not
Thor.
technically a crossover event because the characters aren't crossing over with each other. It's just books. It's just the storyline continues in different books.
in different book. Yeah.
Which is just like it's just like a selling point issue. Like you just want
to... crossover is when Wonder Woman appears in Harley or when Wolverine appears in in
Yeah, but
Deadpool,
I mean,
or you know,
Not like Justice League and Batman, because Batman's in Justice League, so it's just a story that continues in separate books,
Yeah.
so that they can get you to buy all of the books to get the next issue of the story if it's compelling.
yeah,
to
but
you.
like, what about the Lazarus contract crossover? You had part one.
Yeah,
was
that
Lazarus,
was Titans, Teen Titans, and I believe a third book, correct?
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it depends on how the story's told. If it's a good story, it's a good story. If it's not, it's not. Yeah,
hopefully.
you could do whatever you want. You want to just put it in Justice League Dark, that's fine. You want to cross it over to Wonder Woman, that's fine. You want to do a bunch of one shots, whatever. But if it's not good, it's not good. You know,
We will see. I hope. We can only hope at this point.
yeah. I mean, that's so yeah. That's all we got this week, everybody. You know, so if you like I said, if you get a chance, a lot of cool books coming out this week for new releases. Not a whole lot of news. You know, having to compete with San Diego Comic-Con and everything, but
Of course,
we're,
you can
we're
check
not
out.
going to rehash the whole Buffy the Vampire Slayer conversation.
stop.
If you want to
Stop.
see the Buffy the Vampire,
Stop.
if you want to see the Buffy conversation, you can check out the special 3-hour live special we did Sunday, I believe. It's
Yes.
still up on the channel, so you can check that out. Check
And
out
I
all
think
the other
Steve
episodes.
might be more upset about it than I am.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised.
Everyone's upset about this.
Of course, but
Even the people you wouldn't think would be upset about it are just they're losing their minds.
well, yeah, because it doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't
but,
make any sense.
But
But yeah. So hey, listen. Real quick before we sign off, any recommendations this week, guys? Anything you're reading that you're checking out that you're really enjoying?
Oh, you got the last issue of Punisher before the relaunch of the numbering system. So
Yeah.
the Punisher War Machine tie-over arc, whatever the heck you want to call it, has been fantastic in my opinion. So give the last one a shot, see if it's just as good as the rest, and then we'll see what's in store for the future of that whole thing.
yeah.
Anything, Will?
What else is coming out this week? Action. You know, I'm excited to see what action. I'm looking forward to it. Flash. Yeah, you're getting the Flash. It's Wally's last run, I think it's called.
Yes.
So I'm excited. The most recent issues of Flash, that should definitely be interesting. And Infinity War Prime, you know, check that out because the Infinity Countdown issues have been pretty sick. So that's definitely something I'd say would be pretty good to check out.
And actually, for me personally, I'm gonna be recommending anyone who's been checking it out. Doomsday Clock is still continuing to be a pretty good book.
Of course.
Yeah, it's and right now it's on the bi-monthly schedule. So this week is issue 6. So,
really?
Yep.
All
So
right.
anyone who's looking forward to that, if you haven't started checking it out yet, basically it's Watchmen 2. Really recommend it. It's fun. Jeff Johns he's got a great voice for the book, and Gary Frank is doing an amazing job on the art. So there we go, guys.
Check it out.
That's this week's episode, or I guess I have to say it. Steve's not here. Are we calling them episodes or issues?
I don't know. Maybe.
Is that what we're doing?
Maybe.
We have a lot of issues.
We have a lot of issues.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for checking out the podcast. Again, if you get a chance, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We forgot to mention that at the beginning of the podcast.
Subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notifications on when we upload videos.
Make sure
New ones every week. It's exciting. Like the video, share it with your friends if you enjoy it and want to, tell your friends about it.
Share it with your enemies. Share it with everyone.
Come to the store. Get the books yourselves. Get your information firsthand. Get everything.
Yeah. So there we go, guys. And again, this has been a great podcast for October Country Comics.
Oh yeah.
This is Devon
And Will.
And Kyle.
and thank you for listening
joining.
to the October Country Podcast.
Woo! Yay.